Sorry for finding it.
Welcome to our regular meeting of council in person and live streamed electronically for Tuesday, February 17th. Our announcements: there is a public meeting scheduled for February 18th at 5 p.m. at the Lanark County Administration Building in Perth regarding 3 proposed amendments to their official plan. If you would like to submit comments regarding the proposed amendments to the animal control bylaw for Montague Township, please complete the online survey posted on the township's website and Facebook page, or forward your comments to the clerk. The Alto High Speed Rail Open House will be held on March 4th at the Perth Lions Club. There are 2 sessions, 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. You can also learn more about this proposal and submit your feedback through their online portal. We are accepting applications to be a member of the Montague Township Fire Department. The application package can be found on the township's website and dropped off at the township office. Yeah, or emailed to the fire chief by February 27th at 4 p.m. So opening of our meeting is our land acknowledgement. The council and staff of the Township of Montague acknowledge that the sacred land on which the Township of Montague is now located and this meeting is being held is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We'll have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. So moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Deputy Reeve Carroll, that the regular meeting of council agenda dated February 17th, 2026 be amended as presented this date. All in favor? That's carried. Disclosure of interest now at any point in time during our meeting. Moved by Deputy Reeve Carroll and seconded by Councillor Crabtree that the minutes from the regular meeting council dated February 3rd, 2023 be approved as presented this date. All in favor? Carried. Is there any business arising from our previous meeting? We have no delegations. Our report of municipal officers. Our first is Public Works Manager Ed Haynes. Appointment of Drainage Superintendent.
Chair, council. So as the report states, we're looking to appoint a drainage superintendent. Township has worked with one in the past. When we worked on when the Ford drain was cleaned up a few years ago. There's quite a bit to the Drainage Act. It lays out all kinds of responsibilities as far as municipalities are concerned, as well as landowners, and both the financial and legal side of it. So having someone appointed in this position that is well versed in that whole act is crucial for sure. If you look in the report, it talks about the various drains that are within the township. The Ford drain itself and the various branches off of it, including sort of the Kelly branch, McNeely light body, they're all in that northwest corner of the township. So there's quite a bit there to be concerned with. Some of these, if you look at the lengths, it does include the length of the complete drain, and some of it lies outside of the municipality. So just keep that in mind. Brassels, for example, up in the northeast corner, crosses sort of William Campbell, but it comes from the Ottawa side, so it's quite a big drain there as well. So in the past, we used a gentleman. He was with a different firm at the time. Before my time here, from what I'm told from staff, he was an asset during the clean out of the Ford drain, both working with staff and the residents. This gentleman has since moved on to a different firm. So what we're looking to do is to retain his services under the name of the new company. Of course, with him bringing that knowledge there, it's kind of a seamless transition that way. So the big part of this, of course, with new development and things coming into the township, drainage is always a big concern, new subdivisions and such. So to have someone like this available is great for that as well. It works in with the funding. So if we get this appointment done by the end of the month, there's grants available to cover half the costs from this gentleman. So we're looking for direction this evening to go ahead with this appointment. Any questions on that?
So is this now his own private company or he's moved over to
No.
the new company?
Yeah, that's right. So he's moved to Robinson Consultants now.
How long did he work with us?
Oh, quite a few years, I believe 4 or 5.
Yeah, so he was with us for quite a few years. The Ford drain, we thought he did an exceptional job, and I think the council members who were around then could also attest to that. He was
Mhm.
very good at returning, and communicating with the public and the people involved. To be honest, the best that I've worked with as far as just communication and really having public meetings here with people, meeting with them one-on-one. It's not an easy one because sometimes owners don't even know that they have to pay into it. So really his job is not easy on that side of things, and he really did take it head on. I think we even got some compliments from some of the landowners of that he did really respond to them and communicate. I agree with Ed, and Ed didn't get to work with him in some of this, but the previous like Mac and Perry, I don't think they have some of the expertise in some of like especially ours. So yeah, I think that specific person was about 3-4 years with us.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say from a council perspective, Lucas was great when he answers questions. He's pretty straightforward. He knows the stuff for sure. He understands all the grooves of the drain too as well. So I'd say yeah, so I think it's good that we maybe kind of switch over and do that too as well. So thank you for that too as well.
And make sure, and even with Ed mentioning like the grant side of it, I never had to reach out to Lucas at year end. He would reach out to me and say, hey, Allie, I have it ready. Can you just sign it?
Mhm.
So that's also nice.
I also think it's really good to have somebody who is good at dealing with people, especially when we have not always the best news, but
Mhm.
when you can just at least be able to attack that in a positive way and try to make him understand and realize it. So the fact that you guys are already saying that he's good at that and can rip that Band-Aid off slowly and handle it in an ideal way, that's great.
I'm sorry, just so the Ford drain obviously was us and Drummond North Elmsley, and I believe Drummond has also switched, correct?
That's correct, yeah. So Drummond, I believe Tay Valley use them. There's a few in the county that are using them. I think, yeah, they're all very happy. You know, great communicator. I went back in emails from, I think, 3 previous public works managers where they've all had communications with Lucas and you know, where he's copied on communication with the township and with residents, and you can see it's always been really positive. And some of the emails maybe not quite so nice, but his response was always very professional and you can't argue facts. So he was really good at that for sure.
So moved by Councillor Crabtree and second by Councillor Johnson, that council approve the appointment of Robinson Consultants Inc. as the drainage superintendent for the township of Montague, and that council pass the necessary bylaw to recognize said appointment as per the draft bylaw presented this date, and further that the Raven clerk are authorized to enter into an agreement with Robinson Consultants Inc. for the provision of drainage superintendent services as per the draft bylaw presented this date. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Next is our public works manager, Ed Haynes, on our tandem truck RFP.
Thank you, Chair. So RFP, we posted for our replacement tandem plow truck, which closed last week. Quite a few takers on the tender package, but unfortunately only received 2 submissions. Both incredibly close. I've worked on a few tenders over the years and never seen one this close price wise. So the tender, it did specify a scoring rubric to look at after the fact, you know, so sitting down with the lead hand and talking to the other public works staff, we looked at the submission in detail and some of the real details of it and then scored accordingly. So looking at that, if you look down in the report, it does explain some of the findings and where each submission received some deductions. The submission from Premier Truck Group, Premier, they supplied the last truck. They were successful in the last tender for, I believe it was in 2024. So what they've quoted was exactly in the tender. So there was no deductions as far as that's concerned. Every single item was hit. What we were asking for was the exiting unit, so that was a pretty easy ask. Rush, were very close as well, but they had a different chassis. different suspension. There were some changes, there's some things with the frame, so there were some deductions and there's submission there. So based on that and the slightly lower price from Premier, that's why we were recommending the Premier submission.
Questions?
More of a comment, I do see it's a little over the budget, but with everything being what it is right now, and it seems relatively close. So I'm actually kudos to you guys being able to find something that's close to that, considering everything's going on with US tariffs and everything else, so. But it seems like you have everything you want at a fairly close relative price. So good job on that.
So I was just gonna make a comment where it's like, I think when one of my first years on council, like, whatever, maybe 7 years ago, we had to buy a truck and they were $280,000 per ton. So like, I mean, like, it's amazing how much they have gone up in price. I think it's one of those things where people understand, like, as we try to go through our budgets and we try to figure out how to do all this stuff, and like, I mean, kudos to trying to find the best price, but this is just the reality of how much the increases happened in like these, like, you could like buy 3 trucks for what we're gonna pay for 2 now, like from like 6 years ago. So I mean, that's just that's just the cost of things are going, what you're kind of alluded to, so where things are going at.
And the availability.
So us, like, I just try to get those, and like, as once again, trying to navigate through, like, obviously the staff doing a great job trying to navigate through our budgets and keeping them at a really good rate. But those are the realities that we're dealing with, so, but kudos to trying to get the best possible price that we can, so.
Melissa?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So, a couple things. I was away. Ed did a great job on the report. The only thing I'm gonna request, and Ed can say no if he doesn't want it, that you also approve an additional $5,000 just for any outfitting of the deckling and those things. Usually it's not 5,000, but just that we approve it. And then the other item that I want to just note is that Public Works was under budget in 2025, and there is a surplus that will be allocated to them at year end when you see that. So being that close is very good, but keep that in mind that there will be some surplus from last year too that can be used towards that.
I'm assuming we're gonna be okay with the extra 5 too as well, for the decal and all that kind of stuff. I mean, like, I know, like, let's like approve that. And if you don't need it, you don't need it, but obviously it's
There's minor things, like deckling for sure, two-way radio, for example. Like Allison said, it's like, I wouldn't see it going to 5,000, but it's.
Yeah.
Let's just make
We
sure.
just use that as a base with you, and
Yeah.
we've always been under,
Yeah.
but just.
That's almost discretionary too as well, is it not? But like, we're like,
No, it's not in the budget, we're already over budget.
because we're already budget for it, that's why I do it.
Yeah. If we were under budget, then
Then
Yeah.
fine, yeah, okay.
So moved by Councillor Johnson and seconded by Deputy Brief Carroll, that council direct staff to award RFP 2026-PW-02 to Premier Truck Group for a total price of $417,363.55, including non-refundable HST, plus the cost of deckling and other incidentals, and that truck 11 be deemed surplus equipment and advertised on Gov Deals for disposal once the new unit has been delivered as per the township procurement policy, section 7. All in favor?
sorry, did it say up to 5,000
No.
on the incidentals?
Put
Can you
that.
put that just for audit?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So do you want me to read it again?
No.
No, okay. Section 7, all in favor? Not sure what you're saying there, but anyway.
Side of the table.
Next is our traffic planning manager, Kirsten Cote, on Alto High Speed Rail.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So pursuant to council's direction, Reeve Jennings, at the request of Councillor Johnson, Councillor Crabtree, and I met on February 6th to discuss the Alto High Speed Rail proposal and to itemize our questions and concerns to be presented at the delegates roundtable discussion on March the 3rd. The report that you have before you includes 10 items, including expropriation of lands, impact on provincial government housing objectives, environmental impacts, economic benefits, the actual cost to ratepayers, affordability, road impacts. Was the need actually demonstrated by public consultation and current real priorities? So the working group is looking for any additional comments from council that could be included in our delegation feedback. And it is proposed that Reeve Jennings attend this delegation in the place of Councillor Johnson. Questions or comments?
Comments on our comments?
I mean, I think you pretty well highlighted a lot of like the good questions for sure. And I think that's exactly what we're looking for. My only comment on the side of it too as well is like, is flying still being discussed at all instead of this project too as well? Because to me, there's a lot more common sense behind, how do we make flying faster to and from like either from Quebec City, Montreal, or Toronto? I even think for smaller airports like ours, like could you not have like ours and CARP and all that kind of stuff with smaller charter flights that would like, is that not more cost effective? I mean, we talk about how we're trying to compare to Europe and what Europe does and everything else. So they do have light rail and fast rail, but they also have cheap, domestic flights too as well that work really well. I know you flown a lot in what you've done, but I mean, in that sense, but there's gotta be, for that kind of money, is there not are there other alternatives to, and as we kind of evolve flight more and more, is that not something that would be, like, I would think would be more focused on, but I mean, it's, anyway, just my thoughts.
Yeah, and I'll just pick up where, Jeff's going from. In Europe, they coupled the high-speed rail and rail with a reduction in the number of flights for all of us. So anything less than an hour, they started taking those flights out. So you're forcing people onto the trains. And if we don't have something coupled with that, it really isn't much of an offset. So that's my only comment there. It's, if you aren't gonna have an offset for this and reduce pollution through air flight, reduce the travel time for that kind of stuff, you're not gonna really, if people are still gonna fly, instead of take the train, you're gonna have an empty train. So just based on that.
So just the piggyback on that, I guess, like the sort of the forcing side of it too as well. So like, why would I jump on the train in Ottawa when I can jump on the flight still, which is still faster, it only takes 45 minutes to fly, like, or less to fly to Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so like, why would you, why would you do that if you're looking for a faster option unless you rip that right, that flying away?
Especially, and that's one thing coming out of Paris. You can't fly someplace for less than an hour because they put a stop to it. Because they're trying to force everyone onto the train. So in Europe, they were doing stuff like that. So, because you're trying to make it more cost effective and usable. Otherwise, and especially when you get like Ryanair and people like that, it's $50 to fly. Well, if you don't get rid of that flight, everybody will go and fly.
So I guess maybe bringing that to the questions, are you going to have a reduction? Is that part of the plan though? Is it, if you're bringing high-speed rail, is to start doing that
Well,
reduction? Is that the counter?
The Montreal to Ottawa flight is 46 minutes. You need to get rid of that then, and the Montreal to Quebec flight, then you need to get rid of that too, and I understand the Montreal to Ottawa one, or sorry, Montreal to Toronto, it's a little bit longer, perhaps that could stay, but when I used to fly to Toronto, it's 56 minutes. Like, it makes
Smoking the train, it's smoking the train anyway, so it's,
Yeah.
like it's,
The train still,
Yes, very slowly a couple hours, but if you don't take that out of there,
and how much for that for people if you take away the thing that was faster for me anyways, and I think you want a slower thing now, it's supposed to be hybrid.
Exactly.
Like,
And certain executives would rather still take
oh yeah,
the train than, or sorry, take the plane than the train.
yeah.
So,
the only thing that makes it close to being feasible also is that when you go through security and that, it's an hour and a half that you have to be, so now your flight, instead of being 56 minutes, it's an hour and 56, and then, an hour again coming back. So it makes it almost close, but it's.
But to me, like, the focus should be to shrink that there, because you don't do that in Europe in those domestic flights, it's not those wait times that we have for those domestic, the short, especially the short haul ones.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting, to anyways, those would be like my thoughts, as Councilor Johnson sort of also has his experience in it too as well with that, so it's, thank you.
and if they're doing this for pollution, like we did talk about, they could retrofit their Via Rail with an electric motor.
Yeah, it's the electric train.
So there's no reason that they couldn't use what's already existing and just make it better. And then you wouldn't have to have all these new tracks put in and everything else. You could just work on the existing infrastructure.
And make sure they're on time. That's Via's biggest problem is that they're never, as we've known from a meeting that happens as well.
Yeah.
That's all I've always said, like, Via's notorious for never being on time.
15 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Always, in every train.
Yeah.
So.
It's actually a note now if you're buying tickets.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I think you guys did a great job with putting everything together. I thought it was great. Hit all the marks for me. So thank you.
So moved by Deputy Reeve Carroll and seconded by Councillor Crabtree that Reeve Jennings be appointed to the Township's Alto High Speed Rail Working Group and as the delegate representing the Township of Montague in place of Councillor Johnson, and that Council direct the Township's delegate to bring forth the comments as discussed at the regular meeting of Council dated February 17th, 2026 to the roundtable discussions to be held on March 30th. All in favor? That carried. Next is our clerk planning manager, Kristen Cote, on our 2026 Mount County Harvest Festival.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So Montague Township was successful in its application to be the spotlight municipality at the 2026 Harvest Festival being held in Beckwith Township on Sunday, September the 13th. As you can imagine, there was substantial planning involved in a county-wide event, and the terms of reference require a county council representative from the spotlight municipality to sit on this working group. The working group will meet approximately 4 to 6 times between now and the date of the event. And those meetings would be held during regular business hours. So looking for an appointee.
I'd be willing to put my name
Is that cool
forward.
to do that?
Yeah.
Especially that timeframe too, as
Yeah.
well, I could say, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, back up and support anything you need for all of that, but it's, but yeah. That's it.
That's it. So moved by Councillor Crabtree and second by Councillor Johnson. Did I say my name? That Karen Jennings be appointed as the Township of Montague's council representative on the 2026 Mount County Harvest Festival working group. All in favor? Carried.
Okay, if there's anything I can help with.
I know how to get to hold all of you. Next is our municipal manager, treasurer, deputy clerk, Allison Braken, on request for council approval for past impact fees.
Thank you, Chair. This is a report coming back to council. There was a delegation in relation to the original report that came to council. So this is just follow-up for council to make the decision based on information and the delegation presenting. So there's 2 options: that you approve the 358 application made by the owner for 2022 year and part of the 2021 year based on the dissolution date of July 19th, 2021. You approve the 358 application made for all of 2020, 21, and 22 in its entirety, or that you do not approve any further reductions on the taxes, as MPAC has already provided the 3 years that they're legislatively allowed to provide. So the options do show the financial implications in relation to the changes. And we're really just looking for council direction. This is solely up to you for this one.
Put it open. So I can understand in not understanding your tax bill to have missed closer time frame for the reassessments when commercial wasn't supposed to be there. I can't say that I can support option 2. So I could support option 1 to say based on the dissolution date, or option 3, whichever council would be more supportive of, but I definitely couldn't go back. I don't feel that there's enough information been provided for me to support the whole thing.
I don't believe option 3 is viable, just because it may cost us in lawyers' fees going forward. And the legal costs would probably outdo the paying of a portion of it. I as well, with Karen, I understand asking questions when your taxes all of a sudden take a huge spike. I just don't know that enough information's been provided to fully back, giving them almost double the amount. I think if that was the case, I think a little more information would need to be provided. That's my opinion on it.
I'll go, yeah, I'm indifferent, I guess if I was like impact, they'd go back and say, you know what, these last 3 years, it wasn't there. There really isn't a lot of stuff showing that there was a business there that, once again, it's tricky, if council feels like option one is the way to go. I mean, I agree with Councilor Crabtree too as well. I mean, like, you would think over the years there would be a little bit more of a notice of that jump. And hopefully deal with it before, like that's why there's a 3-year window. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I expect people to have due diligence when they're paying their taxes. So for me, option 2 doesn't really work. I think that you should have caught that earlier than that. The fact that they're in arrears also, I find that difficult to go with option 3. So for me, it's option 1 because, and I base it, as you said, Reed Jennings, on the dissolution date. And so then I can wrap my head around, okay, well, it was triggered and here it was. But otherwise, I have trouble with 2 or 3. That's my 2 cents.
So 1? Yeah, 1, okay. So moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Deputy Reid Carroll, that council approves option 1 in relation to the request for an approval to remove the commercial assessment coding from the 2020, 2021 and 2022 taxation years for roll number 090100.
Isn't that?
You're doing partially 2021
Yes,
and all
that's
of
the-
2022.
But this one said, yeah, but it's saying to remove the commercial for coding for the 2020, but we said option 1.
Option 1, that's why, so it's not option, that's kind of listing option 2.
Option 1 says for the 2022 and part of the 2021.
Yes, but the request was for 2020, 21 and 22. So you're choosing option 1, which is only partial 20 of the request. You're choosing option 1.
Yeah, option 1, the wording is correct the way it says.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. For the 2020, 2021, 2022 taxation years for roll number 0901 000 010 30400 as applied for under section 358 of the Municipal Act 2001 SO 2001 C25. All in favor? That's carried. Next is our municipal manager, treasurer, deputy clerk, Allison Bracken on our 2026 draft water wastewater budget.
Thank you, council. Similar to each year, we wait for the town of Smith Falls to set their rates. Once they're approved, by bylaw, we bring a budget to council. So it was approved, I believe the week of February 5th in there, or the 2nd. So they approved similar to the, I think, last 2 or 3 years, 5.5 and 3.5. So 5.5 on water and 3.5 on wastewater. So our draft budget, based on our current agreements, the Rideau Ave area, is 1.75 times the rate of Smith Falls. So in this draft budget, that's exactly what it is. It's their bylaw times 1.75 times for both the usage and the base rates. For the Adirondacks area, that is up to us. We did make some changes with adding the water sampling stations, which is reducing staff overtime and how things are being addressed for the sampling. So on the Adirondack side, we're looking at 2.5% for the water on the base rate and a 1.2% on the usage rate. And 2.5% for wastewater on the base and 0% on wastewater usage to the residents in Adirondack, based on the requirement that we need to fund our budget based on last year's actuals. So we included in the document The water rates and effects based off of a consumption of about 20 cubic meters every 2 months. The annual increase for Adirona will be about just under $33 for the year. And then as shown for the Rideau side, which is 1.75 times, the annual increase is gonna be $202.22 based on that average consumption of 20 cubic meters. And just all of council is aware, but we are working on negotiations with the agreement. So it is really the Rideau side that is impacted the most on the 1.75 times. And the Adirona side, staff and council have really been trying to figure out solutions to keep that lower and more affordable, understanding that we still need to update our agreements from 86.
Moved by Deputy Reeve Carroll and seconded by Councillor Crabtree that council approve the 2026 water wastewater budget as presented this date, and further that council adopts the bylaw for the 2026 water wastewater budget and the water wastewater rates as presented this date. All in favor? That's carries. Reports of committees, moved by Councillor Crabtree, seconded by Councillor Johnson, that council approve the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting dated February 3rd, 2026, and the recommendations contained within. All in favor? That's carried. We have no petitions. Our first bylaw, moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Deputy Reeve Carroll, that bylaw 4196-2026, being a bylaw to adopt the 2026 municipal water, sewer, operating, and capital budgets, be read a first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed this 17th day of February 2026. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Deputy Reeve Carroll, seconded by Councillor Crabtree, that bylaw 4197-2026, being a bylaw to appoint a drainage superintendent for the township of Montague, be read a first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed this 17th day of February 2026. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Crabtree, seconded by Councillor Johnson, that bylaw 4190-2026, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with Robinson Consultants, Inc. for the provision of drainage superintendent services for the township of Montague, be read a first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed this 17th day of February 2026. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Deputy Reeve. Bylaw 4199-2026, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a development agreement with Daniel Dale Klost and Nicole Suzette Klost, the owners of land legally described as part of lots 21 and 22, concessions 9 and 10, township of Montague, be read first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed this 17th day of February 2026. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Deputy Reeve Carroll, seconded by Councillor Crabtree, that bylaw 4200-2026, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a development agreement with 152-21315 Canada Inc., the owner of land legally described as part of Lot 5, Concession 5, Township of Montague, designated as parts 1 through 3, 6 through 10, and 12 on Plan 27R-12604, be read at first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed the 17th day of February 2026. All in favor? That's carried. So we have no motion, notice of motion, or action items under correspondence. Moved by Councillor Crabtree, seconded by Councillor Johnson, that council receives a written apology from Paul Cormier for inappropriate remarks made at the January 20, 2026 regular meeting of council. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, Ali, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So I just want to speak to this one. The meeting in January so we did follow up as staff with the delegate at the time, based on the remarks that were made, and we do appreciate that he provided a written apology to go on the agenda. There's obviously zero tolerance for that type of behavior. It was really more directed at council and staff, but I think it's important that the public understand that as staff, we deal with this on a regular basis, and it's becoming more and more normalized, I guess, that this behavior is acceptable to treat staff that way. We as staff have been asked, you know what it feels like to be shot, we've been spit on, items thrown at us, attempted to run over a staff person, cursing, yelling, ratepayers approach staff with a bat. And threats on a regular basis. There's absolutely zero tolerance, and we just wanted to make that very clear, and we tend to make that very clear. And we just wanted to make sure that council was also provided an apology for that type of behavior towards them.
I just want to apologize to staff for not catching that. I was sitting right next to the gentleman and I didn't even hear it. And I really wanted to apologize because I felt horrible when I got the note, and then I went back and listened to it. And I should have caught it sitting right there. So I really feel horrible about that. I feel horrible about what you guys go through for some of this kind of stuff, but I just want to apologize for not paying proper attention, and it won't happen again. I'll listen a lot more closely.
I do want to apologize as well, like I was the chair too as well, I should have recognized that during that time too as well. And definitely it's completely unacceptable, and yes, for anybody to go through that type of harassment and behavior is, you know, for just doing a great job and just trying to do your job. We have to make sure that we do not accept that, and we have full support from council too as well, as far as not accepting that behavior. And yeah, thank you.
So I missed that part of it with coming in late on the train, but did catch it when I went back and listened to the meeting that I missed until we got in here. And it came in quickly. You had to catch it for sure. And this is why with the Health and Safety Act and how workplace violence and harassment came into place, because so much of this was happening. And we have our policies in place, and council definitely will back our staff 100% to ensure that our staff are safe in this workplace and out on any of our roads that are our workplaces, in responding to fire calls, etc. Staff or council has your back. Please make sure that staff are aware of that. We want to make sure that they are safe in doing the duties that they are performing on behalf of all our residents. And it's unfortunate that our world has become the world it is, that this is what it's come to, because it's happening more and more. And I mean, it's not touched on in the report of Roma, but it was one of the things too that was discussed in how much. But I mean, even with reference to council members and harassment that's now coming about for people that were elected and council people that did step down over the term because of threats and violence and harassment. And it's like, none of us are getting paid huge amounts of money to do our jobs. We're doing them because we enjoy it. We want to represent our residents to the best of our abilities. We are all still human beings. And that's what needs to be understood, is that we're just no different than anybody else. And to be treating any of us with disrespect is not acceptable. So.
The staff, the community, like we have a lot of wonderful people, and I think everyone does try to help, and you do get a little more with honey than you do with vinegar or baseball bat. So you know, if you talk to staff, council, we're all here for you, and we're definitely here to work with you, not against you.
So then that's that. So next is unfinished business. Other business is the report I will give on behalf of Councillor Abbas and myself and attending Roma. Both of us did feel that it was a very worthwhile conference. It's unfortunate that we couldn't hit all of the seminars because there was only the two of us. There were some conflicts for sure that wanted to get there. It is a very detailed, but I wanted to make sure that we hit. I did put in so that anybody that was reading the report, the different sessions that were available, and what we attended, feeling that it was how it was relevant to Montague Township. And the biggest one that came out for me first off was the dirt on cemeteries. And as soon as that was posted as one of the seminars before the conference ever happened, I said, listen, that I'm going to that one, because we have a lot of cemeteries and we have some things that have been discussed in the past, and that workshop was unbelievable. The municipality of Napanee that was there, I mean, the others that spoke with reference to the legislation and everything else, but the municipality themselves It was an amalgamated municipality that ended up with over 40 cemeteries. And then ended up with one that they did not know about whatsoever until they were contacted to say that 4 bodies were going to be reinterred, and they had no knowledge of the cemetery whatsoever. There was a road now constructed and how they had to work through to get everything done. And it was like, if, nobody ever wants to cross that, but we have no idea from way back when where you might discover something. And so that one was a real eye opener for sure. And as I said, I mean, being around here long enough, we're aware of our cemeteries and how we try to keep them as tidy as we can for those that are being looked after. And we give our charitable donation or contribution, the grant, every year just so that we can try to keep that going and it doesn't come back on us. We had the gym attended at the same time, the rural road, and it had discussions with reference to claims and litigation, silver bullet and road safety. I got some slideshows, thankfully. I took screenshots. That's how when I attend, it's like there's a lot of information flowing at us and I take screenshots of some of the stuff and that's how I got my notes. Jim had a few notes for me, so I tried my best, but there were some screenshots. And it was, the slideshow provided the steps to deal with hazards: remove, reduce, shield, and delineate. And it said, it was stated, we need to keep current on road standards, so evolve over time for a reason. Don't modify approved devices. Tested devices reduce liability. Creativity is not your friend. It showed a guardrail being installed behind a fire hydrant versus in front, with the questions: what would happen when impacted, and was this crash tested? Safety is relative. Fix the low-hanging fruit. So when they talk about the low-hanging fruit, it had to do with the large farm equipment now and hydro lines and all of that, and how they have to cross roads to get to all their properties. And then the size of our farm equipment now and them fitting on the roads and how many people keep trying to pass, which is causing the accidents, especially since they're trying to pass on the sharp curves. So in closing, it was said, keep your perspective. Barriers and delineators are a hazard. You can't eliminate all hazards. You can reduce severity and think, observe, act. And then also some things are beyond our control. You can't fix stupid. Politicians can change any law except the laws of physics. And public may still have a bad day. However, without you, it could have been worse. And the slideshow showed a small black Volkswagen car and a snowmobile tied to the roof of it. So, and then the next one we started into was the plenary program. And the one there that definitely impacts all municipalities in Ontario is the pension plan for our staff. And it was an excellent panel. OMERS Pension Bill 68 is going to reduce municipal voice on the pension plan that we pay for and gives province authority to make benefits and contribution decisions that could lead to higher costs for the municipalities. Legislation was the result of governance requested by the police, fire, unions, and Metrolink. The current OMERS structure with two corporate boards is working. It provides predictability and stability. As Amos states, pensions need to stay independent and accountable. They cannot be politicized. Municipalities and employees should have control over their own plan. Again, this year was the opening keynote speaker, Chantal Hebert, and she's a prolific journalist. I think you guys remember her. And her speech was great again. But back to I put that in and it should have stopped with the OMERS. Our pension plan is excellent. It's one of the top for our employees. And to say that the government wants to get their fingers in it, I can't say that I'm in favor of it. And I'm actually an past employee, so I'm receiving my pension plan. And I know that watching over the years, my pension certainly did very well compared to some of the markets, etc. And I definitely want to make sure that our employees, as well as every other municipal employee, continues to have a good pension plan. And I'm not sure exactly the background on, I think maybe the unions wanted to have a little bit more say and have more representation on the panels, but I mean, it has been working. I think there could have been a different way in having discussions. I'm old enough to remember holiday happened because the government said that the OMERS pension plan was making too much money. And then that holiday gave all the employees and the employers a contribution break. And then down the road, then we had to start raising our rates again. So was that the best decision? Maybe we could have, thought about how our money was going to be allowed to be surplused a little bit, because just because somebody's investing well shouldn't have impacted, but anyway, that's the way it goes. And then this year, the ministers' forum got split into 2 sessions. It was supposed to focus on specific ministries and issues. It was hoping that there was going to be more answers and focus on it. I still found that the sessions were timed and it was very quick, so I can't say that splitting did give a lot, but I mean, it was interesting, and when we hear from our political people through them all, I mean, we all hear what they have to say, but in the end, it's like, what's going to be the best for us? On Monday, they had a breakfast session, and it was a first come, first served basis, which unfortunately we ended up in a spare room, but it was okay. Then we were into the plenary program and all the opening remarks. And then we had some sessions. Jim and I both attended the Getting Accurate Information to Residents session, because I was going to attend as a delegation with Lanark County. We met with the Ministry of the Solicitor General to talk about continuous increased funding for the mobile crisis response team. And this partnership between Lanark OPP, Smith Falls Police Service, and Lanark County Mental Health provides an integrated co-response to mental health calls and helps divert patients from hospitals. And it's been working extremely well, and we wanted to keep that going. The Getting Accurate Information to Residents is definitely relevant to all municipalities, including Montague, as we have limited options without additional cost to our residents. We have a newspaper, as with all newspapers, there's certainly costs to go with that. And is the cost, relevant to the information that's getting out? It doesn't even circulate to all our residents. We could pay for that and it would cost more as well. So with the way that we're working with our website, our social media feeds, that side of it is working. Yes, there are some that are on that side, but I mean, that is hitting most of our municipality. It said, without local media, the municipality is the newsroom. The first line of defense against misinformation is more subscribers equals more people informed. Get the facts by checking out, so I've said, the township's website at www.montaguetownship.ca, looking at the latest news, but also to sign up for the e-newsletter. Scroll to stay informed. A direct link to the township's official Facebook page can also be located there. There's lots of information that is provided through all our social media. Jim's notes had that digital, which is our website, social media, e-newsletters, which are sent out every Friday following the council meeting or on an as-needed basis. And an example was the declaration of a significant weather event print. So it's a direct mail, signage, hand-delivered notices, business cards for staff and council, in person during regular business hours, by phone and by newspaper, but again, limited township delivery, so it's not used on a regular basis for costing. And Jim's comments are, our staff are second to none about this by all of the above. Our township is very transparent, and I would agree with Councillor Bass's comments. Next were their 6 learning lunches, and we attended the investment dollar earned, tax dollar saved, the opportunity to finance municipal infrastructure. Now in this one, I found it more of a selling pitch than anything, and did learn that, we have, our treasurer is definitely on top of ensuring our investments for our reserves are getting us what we need. She's on top of ensuring that our financing for our new plan or our new build over there was done at the best rates that we could possibly look at. So the information was capital plan, is it doable and is it affordable? Long-term borrowing, do the measures comply with the regulation in your policy? Operating budget, is the tax user rate increase affordable, reasonable? Reserves and reserve funds, are the reserve forecast sustainable? And investments, do they have the right investment mix? So then we went on to the forum that was investing in people health, social housing, social services, where the ministries responsible answered questions. So then on Tuesday, our plenary program started. We were reminded also of the upcoming AMO online workshop series for those seeking re-election or first-time aspiring candidates. So for those seeking first-time candidacy, the sessions run 6:30 to 8, March tenth, April seventh, April 28th, May 19th. And to register, visit www.amo.on.ca. I attended a second delegation with the county, so unfortunately I wasn't able to attend the final panel discussion. The delegation met with the Ministry of Health to discuss methods to divert low acuity paramedic calls away from ambulance resources and emergency rooms. Our delegation asked for advice and support from the ministry in its pursuit of programs to improve response times, reduce resource impacts to emergency rooms, and provide support to residents who don't have a primary care provider by focusing paramedic resources on prevention and high acuity calls. We also had then access to health in rural communities. This panel was very interesting as well. Dr. Lynn Mikula was president and CEO of Peterborough Regional Hospital Center. Heidi Lorenz, who is the mayor, town of Gravenhurst, and Dr. Jeffrey Remington, primary care advisory lead, Ontario Physician Recruitment Alliance. It was an interesting session. It was interesting to hear two different physician opinions on the topics of monetary gifts for enticing physicians. Dr. Lynn Mikula was against the monetary gifts, and Dr. Jeffrey Remington was in favor. Councillor Abbas noted that Mikula felt giving town doctors there now to meet and greet with, to explain why it would be great to come and raise a family, was the reason for a doctor to settle in a location, while Dr. Remington received a monetary gift and explained that you have lots of bills when you graduate, and in his case, he was able to start another clinic with 4 more doctors. So he received the funds, but put it back into the community. So that's how he felt it was beneficial, and also about the costing. But overall, both Jim and I felt that this year's Roma Conference was beneficial for our council members to attend. But yeah, that last panel, I mean, I caught part of it, as I say, and having a new hospital and having what they were going through, but it was interesting to hear that. I mean, you would hope that people will come and settle in your community, but ultimately people, when they're looking for work, it's all about what can you offer me and what benefits can I get? And so, yeah, so it was interesting but yeah.
Great detailed report. The different recruiting strategies, obviously, for sure, like, it's interesting that I think different people might want different things when they come to as well, which is a great point. The communication piece, I think, is really good too as well. I think that's one thing I know the staff really try to do, and we have all kinds of it's interesting that I always think sometimes you always see questions on different social media sites about the township instead of directly to the township saying, hey, when is garbage pick up? It's like it's on a different one instead of setting it, on our page where the lovely Grace could just say, answer from the official township. I always find that funny where this is the world we live in, where we have the official place that you can go to. And we talk about people saying like, why am I on social media? But they don't ask the questions on our social media site. They ask it on a third party site. And and then you have like a string of answers, people like thinking what the answer is. And like, it's one of those things where it's like, just ask the township page or the Facebook page. They're the ones that have the answers. So I mean, kudos for that. And when some people do, I think Grace answers them very quickly, with very accurate information. So I think that's a wonderful piece for that communication piece, was if we could take away from that as well. With great, that's the most detailed report I've ever seen come from a conference in my time on council. So it was nice.
Yeah, that was a great report, Reader. So I think it is important though that these come back so that, and especially in that kind of detail, that the members who didn't attend can also see, what was presented in the different strategies. And even for us as staff, if we weren't, this is a very difficult one, I know, for myself to attend because it's year end.
Yeah.
So audit is always happening and it's not one that we can attend. So it's nice to see those types of things and the different strategies or whatever other municipalities we're talking about. I think even on the communication side, I'm gonna say, when you reach out to the actual municipal site, we even try to, between one of the 3 of us, respond on weekends too. So it's not, we do try to communicate all the time if we can. I'm not saying that's always, and we'll get feedback going, wow, that was fast, or oh, I didn't know you'd respond on a Saturday. So again, we do try to do that. So it is important, but it's always nice to hear other strategies and things we can do different. And we have other ideas. It's just, we have to get through some of the legislative items first and then get there.
And I mean, we're lucky that we're small. The one municipality that did a presentation as well, it was for reconstruction down a business section. So what they also had done was like billboards and communications and things like that. I mean, we as council and even on our agendas, so that the residents were also aware. We were very well informed as to our new build and all the steps that were happening, things that are happening over at 22 acres. When the construction was happening down at Rosedale Hall, we get communication. So as much as it's not as large as some of these cities, what we have, we're doing exceptionally well for a small rural. And we are one of the most open and transparent municipalities. I mean, the information that we put out to our residents far exceeds what any of the Lanark County or any of the other municipalities in Ontario honestly put out. I'm very proud of what our township provides for information to everybody. So.
You're here on that, for sure.
So I feel like I was at at it, and I was able to enjoy 3-4 days by just reading it, so it was awesome. But our staff is wonderful about trying to communicate as much as possible. By the way, do the lights come on automatically at the arena or the rink?
Yeah.
What time?
4 or 5.
Okay, so I guess the comment you guys were all saying, if you ask the right channels, because everybody was saying 9, and I wasn't 100% certain,
They
but
go off at 9.
Go on.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing, thank you very much, Ed, the lovely letter that was put in my mailbox when you guys were flashing, hand delivered. I think our staff does go above and beyond and trying to keep everybody notified as to what's going on. Everything from spraying to that type of stuff. So again, I think I've been in much larger communities that you don't get as much notice and notification by one mean or another. So kudos to all staff for all of their hard work.
One thing I didn't put in there, and I will mention, is that we had dinner on Sunday night, all of Lanark County. So it was the Lanark County staff, council members that sit at county, but we also are lower tier reps and staff. We all went out for dinner, and that networking and hearing about how tough this winter has been on all roads, not just in Montague, but all roads. And but it was good to get out as a Lanark County group, meet people that I hadn't met. I met our neighboring Prescott Township Council ladies.
Yeah.
We sit with Reeve and Deputy Reeve at County, but I had not met the ladies and met them. And even over in Leeds County, met some of the county or the councilors over there as well. And so, yeah, no, it was good networking. And so, yeah, it was a good time.
That's a good point that you bring, because a lot, like, you didn't talk a lot about like some of the social side of
Yeah.
things too as well, and a lot of those when meetings are, there's these events that are done by different companies that, and organizations that you have those social events. Some of the conversations that you have over those too, as well as like understanding what they're going through, what their highs and lows are and all that kind of stuff, and just big discussion points and contacts. There's a lot of really good conversations that you say, and then meet the other people, and even in your local area too as well. So I'm sure you had some good social events too as well that kind of have like you do with those connections, which is nice too as well. So,
Yeah.
and those are a big part of what we try to do too as well.
Right.
So, hold on.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the first written report I've done verbals in attending, but I've not done a written, so.
No, but the networking, I think is also important, because at some point, you may have interactions or that you're going through a new contract or new agreements, and knowing who that person is and understanding what they're going through, all that makes a difference too.
So moved by Councillor Johnson and seconded by Deputy Reeve Carroll that council accept the Roma 2026 conference report presented as dated information. All in favor? Carried. Took the longest of the meeting, no. Moved by Deputy Carroll. Oh, wait, before we go, questions of our audience?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Tom.
Does the township, do you record, like when you get phone calls, are they recorded? Like when you get harassed and whatnot, because I find more and more when you phone any company, first thing it's all automated. first thing they say, all calls are being recorded, we don't accept any harassment or whatnot. Is it being recorded here at the township?
I'll refer to.
Take this one. So we just got call display. So the only thing that was recorded was, we definitely have messages that are recorded and kept, with extreme profanity. Usually not even for our roads, it's for county roads or the highway. But anyways, so we do have those. To be honest, most of the, some of it's by phone, most of it's in person that we deal with, probably the most aggressive behavior. Or people chasing them down or coming out to the roads with bats or trying to run over a staff person with their vehicle. Yeah.
Well, the other part of it was going to be, you have a camera up front where people come into the front office.
Can't tell you all our tricks, Tom.
No, but I mean, you go, a lot of businesses you go in, there's a camera there.
You're gonna see, and through you, Chair, council will see into Tom's. We've already had discussions of changing the front entrance and how accessible we are. And it's not that we don't wanna be accessible, we still will be, but we're gonna have to start to put mitigations in place just because this is becoming a repeated offense. I would say almost on a monthly basis, I probably have to say something to people at the front. So you're gonna see a report come, now that we have a facilities person, with some potential changes out front.
Okay, no, I'm just curious on that because.
Yeah.
Like, even one of the stores in Smith Falls, the telephone store or the phone store, they keep their front door locked. Even though there's 3 people in there, they keep the front door locked. Then when you walk in, there's a camera right there. That's before you even get in.
So is that, you guys thinking about doing like a buzz so to let people in?
No, so we'll bring a report, but we're looking at closing off so you can't walk down the hallway.
Okay.
That it's gonna be locked doors with fobs for us to access. So the public just like most other municipalities, to be honest, we've just been very open and very, it's not that we won't be, we still will be, but we have to start implementing these things, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, and I just wanted to say exactly what you just said. We are probably the last
Yeah.
of the municipalities that isn't another door there and something so that Greece doesn't have somebody leaning across there. You know, it's sad, but this is the world we live in and we can't have, I think the faster we do those safety changes, the better. And I'm with Tom with cameras and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, that's what you have to have. Also, there should be a camera outside. That shows who's in the parking lot, who's approaching this door, that door, because you just can't, some people have mental health issues and we can't have you guys taking the brunt of that. So the sooner we have that report, the better.
Yeah, cause we have people waiting in the parking lot for us.
Exactly. And that's the problem. It's not just in this building and your safety is paramount.
Totally acceptable.
Yeah.
Any online questions? There's nothing online now.
I just have one
Oh,
other
yeah,
question.
go ahead.
You tweaked me with the roads not being good all through the county and all that kind of stuff. With the delegation that we had, because I've had a couple of questions, how do things go forward and stuff like that? So is there a report that comes back to council about their request for a committee, and that kind of stuff? How does that work?
Let me take this one. So Chair through you, yeah, so when we bring our report, Ed and I are meeting next week. So when we bring the report on the gravel versus hardtop and that information, you guys can provide direction to council or to staff at that time. Unless you want something sooner than that, but we're planning on having that to the second meeting in March.
No, that sounds fine. As long as just so I know time frames, I've had a couple of questions. I just want to make sure that I'm explaining it correctly, that a report comes back and that's, we move from there.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right, perfect.
So moved by Deputy Reeve Carroll and second by Councillor Crabtree that bylaw 4201-2026, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its regular meeting held on February 17th, 2026, be read for second and third time and passed, signed and sealed the 17th day of February 2026. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Crabtree, second by Councillor Johnson, that council adjourn the regular meeting of council on February 17th, 2026 at 7:04 p.m. until Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, or at the call of the chair. All in favor?
Okay, thanks, everyone. Open the committee of the whole in person, live stream electronically, Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. The opening of the meeting of the land acknowledgement, the council and staff of the township of Montague acknowledge that the sacred land on which the township of Montague is now located, and this meeting is being held as the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation. All right, next is the adoption of the agenda. Moved by Councilor Crabtree, seconded by Deputy Repale, that the committee of the whole agenda for February 17th, 2026 be approved as presented this date. All in favor? Carried. Any disclosure of interest can be made now or anytime throughout the meeting. Do we have any delegations or deputations? Seeing none. Report of municipal officers. The first one is Chair of Montague Recreation Culture Committee, Jay Johnston, spelled the name correctly. Fourth quarter R. For 2025.
So I'm also going to model the new T-shirt. Which I've been at home struggling to complete. I've got 20 of the 50 done. So there's the little logo on the front.
Beautiful.
There's the back.
Nice.
Very nice.
Larger
Turned
than
out
life.
good. Nice color, you know,
Very pretty.
lightweight. I don't know what else I can say. I'm not sure about what a model does with runways and. All right, so this is my first report as chair, so you have to bear with me. So this is for information purposes only. So we've prepared this report for private information regarding events and activities we held in the fourth quarter of 2025. So the first event, it was held in October 4th at the airport. Was a huge success. Our Mighty Machines, we had about 350 people in attendance. Second event, which was super successful, was the Halloween dance that we held at Rosedale Hall. We had about 40 kids and their families attend. We gave costume prizes and also gave a prize for the most creative costume as well. We held our annual MRCC Christmas market, which took place at Rosedale Hall on November 15th, sorry. We had 20 vendors selling their creations and with reporting good sales. We held a Christmas trivia. We had 7 groups. Councilor Crabtree, not to be professional, even though he's my neighbor. So we had prizes for the first, second, and third place tables. We had 7 groups, 6 people per group. It was fun. It was fun preparing all those questions too, being my first event that I had to prepare for. We also held the Santa Claus Parade in conjunction with the Fire Association, which was held on December the 6th. We also have held continuously our volleyball at the Montague Public School, and it has been extended from November 5th to the 27th of May. Our last event, we held our elections. So I've been on the committee since October and I'm now chair. I don't know how that happened, but there we go. We have Katrina Cooley as vice chair and Brandy Atwell as secretary. Coming up in January, we have our Winterfest. We had the Euchre night at the Forget Me Club, and I think Tom said you got some extra people attending, which was a big success. I won't go into that because I have to go into that on our next quarterly report. We've got the annual Easter Bunny pancake breakfast coming up on Saturday, March the 28th. Council being our cooks, which we're honored to have. And we're also hosting for the very first time a Zumba fit class on Tuesday evening, starting March the 3rd at Rosedale Hall, lasting 6 weeks. at a cost of $30. And my understanding, we have 2 spots left. So that's gonna be a big success. We're always looking for new members, and we are moving our meeting, which I think you're aware of. We have it on the 4th Monday of each month, but it'll be starting at 6 p.m. and all are welcome. If you have any suggestions for any community events, we'd love to hear from you. You can follow the township Facebook page to ensure you're receiving updates on the upcoming events. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions here?
Grace was shaking her head on their registrations.
Yeah, Zumba's full, we're waitlist only.
Oh, you got
That's
2.
what we were talking about, yeah.
Oh, you're including the one, okay, sorry, we're full. I wasn't sure if we were confirming, yeah, okay, we are full. So that's great, we've got 20 people, I think it's a big success. I'm delivering, the reason for this is I'm actually delivering the forms and picking up money from people in Smith Falls tomorrow. Because she works 9 to 5 and can't make it into the township office, but this is the service we're offering. All right,
That's service.
that is service. And I'm also holding a sweatshop t-shirt preparing on Brown Road, if anybody's interested. All right, that's my report.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Did any of us have any questions?
I'm just gonna say, super awesome report.
Yeah.
Great that you're chair. I think it's fantastic, and I think, like, just the events and everything else that's going on with the group. Just phenomenal and well done, and, yeah, looking forward to the year too as well. You guys are awesome.
I'm looking forward to it too.
The shirts look great, and are you guys unionized?
Are we what? On Valentine's night, I had a lesson on how to make t-shirts. That was my
It's the best way to spend Valentine's right there.
great. Gina, I had a few rum and coke.
Will you be my Valentine?
All set.
Okay, before we go. Thank you very much
Thank
for that
you.
report. I'm sure Miles is happy to do the Zumba. Got the last spot I couldn't see. So that's good. Looking forward to that. So moved by Deputy Carroll, seconded by Reeve Jennings, that council accepts the 4th quarter MRCC report for 2025 as information. All in favor? Carried. Okay, moving on, Junior Pine Show, 4th quarter planning report for 2025. Who will be giving that?
Do you have questions?
Oh, do we have questions?
Pretty standard.
Okay, no questions. Moved by Reeve Jennings, second by Councilor Crabtree, the council accept the 4th quarter planning report for 2025 as information. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Next, Fire Chief CEMC Water Operator, Miles Greer, 4th quarter fire report for 2025. We don't get a report, is everyone question? We have any questions on that? Any questions? I was hoping that, the chief would be here to give a detailed report.
I wanted to take just a couple minutes of your time.
Oh,
So you'll see that we are down a little bit in our, yearly. So, we're usually averaging between 75, we're down to 65 calls this year. But I wanted to bring it to council's attention and everybody's attention. MVAs this year was up 50% for Montague Township. So we ran approximately 15 MVAs this year. We normally run 3 to 5 a year. So I'm not sure why the big increase in car accidents, but just putting it out there from my numbers, it's quite alarming that you can get almost a 50% increase in 1 year. So everybody take your time, enjoy your drive, and we'll go from there. But I am here for any questions. If you have
Did
any
you-
questions.
find in certain areas that
No, within the whole township, our MTO highway was fairly busy, Highway 15. I'm just not sure why such a big increase in 1 year, like 50%, like it's large.
Was some of them due to the, we've gotten more snow than normal, and I'm just seeing a lot more on my way to work,
Right.
in the ditches, it's,
Yeah, some Some certainly were weather-related conditions and heavy snowfalls, but, a little bit concerning when the numbers jump that much in one year, but. We dealt with it, of course, so the rescue unit's been a great bonus to this township.
Yeah.
As you're aware, we're working on some new stuff with the rescue. And I'm sure our Reeve deputy will support us very well at the council level when it comes out.
Well, I know that's one of the biggest things now with any fire department, it's the rescues that they're doing and stuff like that, and the equipment, having the proper equipment, making sure that everybody has the proper training. And I think kudos to you guys and to Ed, not training officer. You guys do an excellent job with all that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah, I just wanted to make your point. It's just alarming when you see numbers like that, you know.
Well, especially when you don't see it in a certain, maybe it's this road, it wasn't properly taken, you know.
No.
You just look around and if it's everywhere, that is concerning.
The very unfortunate part is, you know, we never really see the outcome of what happened, and so you don't know what it was related to or whatnot, but, I can relate a few of them to speeding, there's no question about that were involved, but anyways. You got my report.
Yeah, no, I think the report is great, and I mean, I think you bring up the point on the rescue vehicle.
Right.
That is heard loud and clear, and as far as the benefit that it is in the township in the area.
Yeah.
I think the report that we got from the county, like from because it's the same group that did the report for us too as well.
That's correct.
Yeah, and you know, what their still recommendation is obviously to keep those.
Yep.
So like, there's a process going through right now, but that is heard loud and clear about the importance of it in our township and the importance of the community as a whole. Right from you to as the chief,
So it's been brought to our attention that, there is a couple representatives from the county that we're gonna sit with, the three chiefs and two representatives. And we're gonna have some discussions about the rescues, and I think Lumex actually wanted to increase maybe some of the services, and I'm sure that'll be all part of the conversation. And I'll certainly keep council in loop of what we're looking at there.
Is that everything, Chip?
Yeah, no, that's it. I just wanted to highlight that exact point that you brought up, because I think that's a very important point that we want to continue to
Yes,
make
for
sure
sure.
discussion is there, so.
Jennings?
Just at the bottom where you note your community events, so thank you to your members.
Oh, yes, community event.
The hours that they put in our community.
And the one community event that's really taken off for us is that Christmas hampering program.
Yeah.
So we get 10 baskets full of stuff, the guys go in and get it, and then it's up to the school who they would like to give these baskets to at that time of year. And that's been a really great event for the township, and it's gone well. I certainly appreciate your time, though.
No, kudos to that. Thank you. Moved by Councilor Crabtree, second by Deputy Carroll, that council accept the fourth quarter fire report for 2025 as information. All in favor? Carried. And next is the fire chief CEMC water operator. I was here. Fourth quarter water report for 2025. Any questions? No, Miles, you don't have to get up with us.
Oh, we're good.
Detailed
We're good on
report.
this.
Oh, you want to?
We're good on this one.
Moved by Deputy Carroll, seconded by Reeve Jennings, that the council accept fourth quarter water report for 2025 as information. All in favor? Carried. All right, building and septic inspector, fourth quarter septic report for 2025. Any questions with that? No questions. Moved by Reeve Jennings, seconded by Council Crabtree, that council accept the fourth quarter septic report for 2025's information. All in favor? Carried. Building and septic inspector, fourth quarter building report for 2025. Any questions for that one? We recognize Allison Verraken.
Not a question. So Chair, through you, I just want to note that at the bottom, so PSAP, so the public sector accounting did change, and we have to, even if it's a smaller revenue, we have to account for the revenue in the year that the majority of the expenses take place. So with discussing with the auditors and the size that we are and the amount that we are, about $14,000 in this year's revenue is put into deferred revenue and will hit 2026, because that's when the majority of our staff expenses will happen for that. even with that though, the CBO and, the inspectors still met our budgeted revenue. So they're starting it is kind of a good thing in a year that was good like that they're starting 2026 with already $14,000 or $15,000 in revenue.
Thank you. Any other questions, thoughts? Nope. Moved by Council Crabtree, second by Deputy Reeve Carroll, that council accept fourth quarter building reports for 2025 as information. All in favor? Carried. Next, Public Works Manager, Ed Haynes, fourth quarter Public Works report for 2025. Go ahead, Mr. Haynes.
Thank you, Chair. So fourth quarter, Public Works, always busy. Fourth quarter is always busy, wrapping up all your projects, right? And then prepping for the next season. So the report starts out talking about winter road maintenance, and of course, in the fourth quarter, the prep and all the equipment is completed. You know, your safeties, getting the plows put back on, oil spraying, all that stuff. We were able to find a loader, which was approved last year, which has been a great addition out there in the yard, just for getting trucks out on the road quicker and then dealing with the large amount of snow we have with all this asphalt up there now. So gets the yard cleaned up and the truck's back on the road real quick. So that's great. Staff are happy with it. Fourth quarter was tough on the gravel roads. We had those that November was really damp, got really mild. We pile of rain, freeze, thaw, all that stuff, and then sort of the freeze came in, and that was it. So unfortunately, we did what we could as far as grading, but some stuff unfortunately was left frozen, and there's nothing we could do honestly before winter came in. So we'll be looking to get onto that as soon as possible when spring finally arrives and things dry up. Ditching was started on Pinery as discussed. We started on that Weedmark corner. That was initially that was slated for that realignment. We decided not to go that route and make other improvements. So the ditching was completed there, and the signage was put in for safety improvements. So that looks great up there. As far as tree trimming and brushing, that's ongoing work. If the guys aren't plowing or doing other priority work, then they can get out brushing with that new brush head they have. Fourth quarter saw some capital projects completed. Ferguson Tetlock Road rehab was completed in November. It looks great. If council's had a chance to drive it yet or not, but it looks really good. A couple minor cleanup details to take care of in the spring, but otherwise, great job by the contractor. Actually went really well. The new excavator was delivered, mulching held tilt bucket. The council's aware of that. It's been used and works great. Unfortunately, as council's aware, we couldn't secure any funding to complete McGowan, so we'll keep that on the back burner, hopefully for the near future. And then all the engineering tender document preparations at that point had begun, and as council's aware now, some of those tenders have closed and we'll be moving forward. As far as that, the waste details are there for waste. Some minor increases were seen. And we wrapped up with Amterra on the recycling side. And Miller took over January 1st, as council's aware. So far, so good. As far as general work, there's a lot of work that was wrapped up at the 22 that staff took on in preparation for the pickleball court to be paved. There were some drainage improvements that were done. This was all kind of last minute stuff that Public Works took on in November, and things came together. Looks great. Any questions?
Just one. What sort of best practice? Because I know with the November and it was mostly weather and like, but is there like a best practice thing where you yourself and other townships with the county get together and discuss all of this kind of stuff? How we could do things differently? What might have worked in one part of the township or a different township? You guys do a lot of that, or is it sort of a monthly thing, or is it more?
So there is a County Road Supervisors Association that exists, Hunter County Road Supervisors. So myself and Lee Hand are members of that association. So we meet, we meet a few times through the year. But even without sort of those formal meetings, I mean, we all talk through the county, right? So It happens quite often, you know, another road super will just pick up the phone and say, hey, are you experiencing this? What's working, what's not working? And, I mean, the conditions we see here, as council's aware, you see it all over the place. And, so it is interesting to see different tactics that these other municipalities take on. Some work, some don't, and we all learn from it. So yes.
That's perfect. I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure it's on record that you guys did that
Oh, yeah.
kind of stuff. And you have the best practice throughout the county. So it's not just if people getting caught off guard or anything. It's a lot of thought goes into what you guys are doing and sharing of experiences.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Any other,
And the ditching and all that kind of stuff, like, I think there's that discussion of that process to go forward and everything else, I think, which is great. I think you alluded to there too, as well. You started with, and I know that's part of the plan for next year, so like, it's trying to find those ways, once again, to get that moisture away from those roads.
Yeah.
I think that's a big piece that you're trying to do, so it's.
It's a critical design piece to any road, really. It doesn't matter the surface type. So yeah, that's why we've noted it as a priority for 26 and keeping that extra piece of equipment and adding an employee and yeah, so.
I think it's like, our public works staff they're doing a lot of work. They're doing a lot of great work. They're out everywhere trying to do their best. This detailed Groovy report really like highlights that too as well. So like, I think that's great. So kudos to that, and we look forward to the next year as we go forward, so.
yeah, you know, and to that end too, it was noted that a lot of the grooving and that was done on Burchell and Richardson and that first thing this morning, you know, was noted. People see that you're out there doing things and stuff like that. So
Right.
kudos, we really appreciate it. Ms. Farrakin.
Thank you, Chair. I think, our Public Works Department does a great job. We're very small. Kudos to council for also approving those recommendations that we bring forward and adding an additional person and keeping the old excavator to really try and get the drainage and the brushing done next year. Acknowledging that we are working towards the betterment of, the drainage, which is a big impact, as Ed said. So, again, just as an overall team effort and acknowledgement that everyone is working in the same direction.
Definitely appreciate that. Any other questions, thoughts?
Great job. I won't say kudos, because I think we've used it like far too many times tonight, but great job by, you know, there is forethought and forward thinking on what we are doing as a team, as a group. The keeping of the old equipment, the hiring of the new staff, to be able to utilize that time and be able to make the roads better than what they were and just get better in the future. So great job.
Can I clarify the multi-use staff? It's not a new person to the
Yeah.
department, it's a shared person. So I just, a shared position, just to clarify.
Yes. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Moved by Deputy Reeve Carroll, second by Reeve Jennings, that council accept fourth quarter public works report for 2025 information. All in favor? Carried. All right, next is Municipal Manager, Treasurer, Deputy Clerk Allison Barakin, fourth quarter report on staff overtime for 2025. Does anyone have any questions of Ms. Barakin?
The only thing I want to just note for the public, in case they don't want to read or look at it's just, you will note in the fourth quarter accrual for fire, it says fire water. Was mostly all water previously, that you'll see that now we have zero with the changing with the sampling stations. So again, there's not that weekend sampling. And then you'll also note that Public Works had a difficult first quarter of 2025 and then fourth quarter. So their hours are up. But overall, based on the budget did include the use of 37,000 from salary reserves. And based on all of the below noted departments, we still came in slightly under budget. So we did not have to utilize the reserves.
Excellent. Any questions? Thank you very much, Ms. Barakin. Moved by Reeve Jennings, second by Councilor Crabtree, that council accept fourth quarter report, staff overtime for 2025 is information. All in favor? Carried. The next report is municipal manager, treasurer, deputy. Sir, deputy clerk, Alison Braken, fourth quarter capital works and grant projects update for 2025.
Thank you, Chair. I won't go into too much depth. Ed spoke about a lot of these items. I think we actually had a fairly, once it's put on paper and in front of you, you can actually see we had a fairly heavy capital year. Obviously with the complex being one of the big items. Everything went fairly well. Some items were a little over, some were under, so kind of washed of each other. There wasn't a lot of additional reserves used, which you'll get at the year-end presentation as well. So overall, really, really well done. We did get some grants, and you'll see there, majority of them have been completed or near completion, and we're working towards funding for 2026.
Just a comment, somebody recently said to me, they noticed our new build and it looks great. Is that your original office? What did you guys do? And I said, just an up facelift type thing. I said, but what a difference it made and how it blends nicely in. But it was like, they did catch going, like, what did you guys do? Said, it's still the same building.
We've had
Yeah.
quite a few compliments of people coming
Yeah.
in saying, wow, it looks good. Like it looks better. It looks different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a fresh look.
All right, thank you. Moved by Councillor Crabtree, second by Deputy Carroll, that council accept the fourth quarter capital works grant projects update for 2025 is information. All in favor? Carried. Again, municipal manager, treasurer, deputy clerk, Alison Braken, fourth quarter budgetary control report for 2025.
Thank you, Chair. Again, not gonna go into huge detail on this, but the audit is kind of just closing out now with anticipation that it'll be presented to council late March, early April. So a couple of good news items. We did end up receiving the over $60,000 in COVID funding that the federal government at one time had said you may or may not get it now because they were looking for cuts and some savings. So we did get that, even though we fully expensed it previously. So that was a full benefit for us this year. So again, sales tax or property and tax sale position changed that whenever that occurs, if we receive excess of what's owed in taxes and or utilities, it gets held in a trust. And after a certain amount of time, it used to come back to the municipality. That changed. But this one is from 2018 that was still being held in trust, and we got released almost $7,500 in additional funds that nobody claimed back to us. So that was also a good news story. Some other small items we did, anything that was kind of skewed, we try to provide council a reason as to why it's a little bit different. Overall, police services, we again with the report and our calculations, we didn't get hit as hard then for 2026, and we were able to put some money into reserves to help offset future cost increases, which we know are coming. And overall, we do anticipate a surplus, not as big as maybe the one last year, which was almost $500,000, but we do anticipate a surplus. And I think everybody did really well. There were some surprise items that came forward throughout the year. I know in the fire department, all of our AEDs had to be replaced and things like that. So overall, really well done by everybody to still stay within or close to within budget. And overall, we should see a surplus.
I like that word surplus. Don't like deficit. Any other thoughts or questions on that?
Kudos to staff.
Kudos, yeah.
Yeah, excellent work. Thank you. Okay, moved by Deputy Carroll, seconded by Reeve Jennings, that council accept fourth quarter budgetary control report for 2025 as information. All in favor? Carried. All right. Clerk, money manager, Ms. Cote, first department report for 2025.
Thank you, Chair. So it was brought to my attention that I was the only staff member that didn't have a quarterly report. So this is sort of the starting off of the first quarterly report, but mine is actually for the year. Just to sort of give a breakdown of certain clerk tasks that are undertaken, broken down into meetings, bylaw enforcement, licensing. So, the clerk's department is responsible for issuing lottery licenses, campground licenses, refreshment vehicles, kennels. Within this section here does make reference to the fact that 257 dog tags were issued. I will not take the credit for any of those. That would be our front desk, Grace, that looks after the dog tags, but it is under the clerk's department. We had quite a few livestock claims in 2025. All of them were awarded compensation. And probably the biggest activity is the municipal election. So even though the election doesn't officially start until May, the clerks start preparing quite a bit earlier. So it was the spring of 2025 that we started getting things ready. And one of the tasks with Elections Ontario, preparing the voters list, is having to review all the street names and the boundaries, and then going through the roll book and comparing it with the information that Elections Ontario has provided. So that was quite a process. So while the report here is a quarterly report, obviously as anything election related comes up, outside of that quarterly reporting period, reports and updates will be provided. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Let's go to. Seeing none, moved by Reeve Jennings, seconded by Councillor Crabtree, that council accept the clerk's department report for 2025 as information. All in favor? Here. May seem redundant, but the clerk planning manager, Ms. Cote, revision of election related policies.
So as I said about 25 seconds ago, there will be reports on an infrequent basis related to election activities, and this is one of those reports. So attached are 6 appendices, and they are revisions of election related policies. So with the nomination period opening on May the 1st, it's important that all of these policies be reviewed and updated to ensure that they're clear for the candidates that would be receiving copies and for the staff to ensure that they're being complied with. So this report, as I said, contains revisions to 3 of the policies. So Appendix A, C, and E are the revised versions. B, D, and F are the current versions. The revisions are, there are too many revisions, but essentially the logo, inclusion of our current logo. Also a header that provides for a little bit more information, the author, policy number, approval date, and any revision, so that can all be clear at the beginning of each document. As well as section and subsection numbers that makes it a little bit easier for the reader, as well as organizing for better flow and ease of reference. And there has been the inclusion and alphabetization of definitions that are comparable throughout all of the policies. So the definitions are the same, regardless of which policy you're referring to. There are some legislative references in there as well. Just so people know that the information that's being provided isn't something that we just pull out of the air, that it is actually legislated. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to receive them.
Any questions from anyone? No questions. Thank you very much for the report. Moved by Councillor Crabtree, seconded by Deputy Reeve Carroll, that council approve the revisions to the municipal employee involvement policy attached here too as Appendix A, and that council approve the use of the municipal resources policy attached here too as Appendix C, and further that council approve the revision to the election campaign material policy attached here too as Appendix E. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Next, Clerk by Manager Ms. Cote, proposed revisions to fees and changes charges by.
Thank you, Chair. So it's important to review the fees and charges bylaw periodically to make sure that it's in line with services that we offer and that it reflects the current market. So, within the report, it's broken down into different, areas of service. Just to highlight a few of those, there's a proposal to increase rental fees, by $25, to offset operating costs. To increase the billable rates for public works, for certain activities undertaken by their lead hand and equipment operators. Inclusion of a fee for road allowance use agreements. You'll see, we will have a few of those coming up shortly. And they do utilize staff time. A report is required, an agreement is required, so it's deemed appropriate to charge a fee for that service. There's also a proposal to increase the fees for severances or consent applications, currently $400 to $500 for the first proposed lot, and from $100 to $150 for subsequent lots that are applied for at the same time. Staff did take a review of similar planning fees from other municipalities, and we are still very much in line with the low end. There are some that are over $1,000, and that we don't think that would be appropriate to increase our fees exponentially, especially at this time. But we are finding that some of those files are becoming a little bit more complex. And so that increase, I think, is well needed. You'll also see that there's an inclusion of fees related to false alarms for the fire department. False alarms, they happen. Sometimes it can happen once, and that's an innocent occurrence, but it still requires our emergency personnel to attend. But when it becomes a second, third, fourth, fifth offense, then, we need to ensure that there are some financial implications for not resolving the reason for those false alarms. And throughout the document, you'll notice that there are some housekeeping amendments, whether it be legislative references, removal of some not relevant definitions, inclusion of some more relevant definitions. And if some of the fees related to dog tags and MFIPA, Freedom of Information, some of those are within other bylaws or within legislation. So if anyone has any questions, I'll do my best to answer, and I might need to defer some of those questions to our treasurer if they become. Yes.
Can I just clarify something quickly? Under the report for discussion of options administration general, the first bullet point, it says as dog tags can be purchased in any denomination. That's referencing garbage tags.
Oh, my
You
apologies.
cannot purchase a sheet of dog tags.
Just a sheet of dogs.
So yeah, that should just read garbage tags instead of dog tags.
Thank you. You cannot purchase a sheet of dogs. Despite your interest, no.
Thank you, Grace. Any other questions or comments for Ms. Cote? Mr. Rakin?
Thanks. So the only, chair through you is building fees will be addressed separately, just so you know that's coming back. The rental at Rosedale, having discussions today, with Grace and just the amount of rentals we've already gotten this year. So keeping in mind that if people have already rented, it's the current rate, and that we may, the recommendation for the final bylaw might be that it's effective May 1, so that we can get into the March newsletter stating that it's changing, and like just to give that notice because it's been really busy for rentals. We want to make sure that people are aware and they can get it kind of booked in if they would like. It's great that it's busy. We just don't want some of our repeat customers or residents to come back and say, oh, I didn't know all of a sudden it's changed. So we'd like the opportunity to be able to put it in the March messenger and to give a little bit of time so they can contact us if that's okay with council. So that's just kind of a discussion that just happened today. So just And we're gonna remove cookbooks because we're actually out of them. They were a hot item. So, as long as council's okay with allowing us that time to communicate that change in Rosedale Hall till May 1 and the, I don't know,
How many cookbooks did Reeve Jennings buy?
Same.
I don't know, I just, I don't know. Any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
I'm kind of following, what Allison has just mentioned, under planning, if, we do increase the rates for planning applications for severances, that would be for applications that have not already been deemed complete. And the proposal would be that if we have applications that we haven't yet deemed complete, that we notify the applicant, just saying that our fees will be going up as of this date. It might be a bit of an impetus to get them in and get that looked after quickly.
Very good. Anything else? Nope. Moved by Deputy Reeve Carroll, second by Reeve Jennings, council direct staff to bring the draft fees and charges bylaw as presented and discuss this date. Be approved at the March 3rd, 2026 regular meeting of council. All in favor? Carried. Any reports of committees? No petitions? Any motions or notice of motions? No. Any unfinished business or other business? We have a question from Tom. No questions from the audience. Actually kind of sad now. But, do we have any, online? No online questions. All right, we'll move to adjourn. Moved by, Reeve Jennings, seconded by Councilor Crabtree, the committee of the whole meeting for February 17th, 2026. Now be adjourned at 7:50 p.m. All in favor? Carried. Thank you all very much.